Was there anyone that you didn't like working with? Not to put anyone on blast.
Yeah, no. No, I mean, it doesn't matter at this point.
Like, if you see someone on the, you see the rundown, you're like,
does it really matter at this point? Come on.
Good point.
It's not that I didn't like working him, but I was always afraid that I was going to hurt him.
The following announcement has been paid for by the Put Me Over podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Put Me Over podcast, episode 113. I'm your host, Andrew Gomez, a.k.a. The Mez, joined today by some very special folks today. You know him, you love him. He is the $100 man, Bobby Diaz.
Coupon cutie right here, dude.
Coupon cutie himself. Also, we have the 10th wonder of the world, the puncher of walls, Dickolich himself, Richard Garcia.
How's it going, everyone?
Also joining us, you know him, you love him. He's probably the biggest heel in the bunch, the most handsomest man alive, the Pinoy powerhouse, Byron Pagdalau.
What's up, guys? I'm so jacked. I can't believe we got Konnor here. That's wild, man.
That's our big surprise. That's a big reveal. Also, we have the proprietors of Grudge Match Brand, the people that are near and dear to our hearts, and hopefully they're near and dear to yours, Remy Casillas and Tani Estrella.
Hello.
I got to come up with nicknames for our new guests. That's my problem. It takes a couple episodes, but yeah, we'll get them for you guys.
We figured if we ever got into drag, I would be Kayla Chingala. So.
Ooh, Kayla Chingala. That's so dope, dude. That's a good name.
That's a good one.
I'm actually really upset because that was my name.
That's perfect. And also joining us, the main event. You might know him as Konnor from the Ascension. Big Con in the house. Baby. Welcome to the Put Me Over podcast, brother.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
How is everything going for you?
Well, it's going about as good as what you guys are doing out there right now, considering we're the top two states right now, right?
You're in Florida right now?
We're like a tag team right now.
Oh, yeah.
California, Florida.
The COVID disasters, dude.
Oh, man.
I'm going to start a sports franchise. Let's do it.
And we're in the heat, brother. We're in the heat right now.
Oh, we're feeling it, too. It's about, it feels like it's about 102 right now outside. It's pretty brutal, yeah.
We definitely got our own little heat wave the past couple of days. I was outside yesterday in the hot sun, 102. It's no joke.
Yeah. So we just have a couple questions we want to shoot your way. We have a couple fan questions as well that we got from our Instagram and Facebook fans. But I kind of just want to talk about what it was like going from NXT. You guys went on a major run. You guys were top tag team, longest reigning NXT tag team champions, super dominant. What was it like going from NXT to the main roster? What was that transition like for you guys?
Well, I mean, during that time, through that transitional period, like that was the main goal, was to get to the main roster. That's where you wanted to go. And that was the, more money and, the bigger spotlight and, so that was always the ultimate goal. So to go from NXT, which is always going to be near and dear to my heart, it was one of those things where, it was just time to make the transition to go to the main roster.
Yeah, you guys
which was exciting, to an extent, but that's the goal, man. That's what you're there for. You want to go to the big leagues. That's what it is. And not to say NXT is not the big leagues, but when I was coming up during that transition, like it wasn't what it is now.
Oh, it's a completely different beast, I feel like now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Different times for sure.
Yeah.
And then so when you guys were on NXT, you guys had a certain look. When you guys got brought up to Raw, they kind of tweaked your gimmick a little bit.
A little bit.
What did you guys think about that?
I mean, we're going to be real here, right? I mean,
absolutely, please.
I didn't
Well,
know.
You know what? We didn't want to have an Adam Cole situation, so we're kind of like just like
just pussyfooting a little bit.
Yeah. No, I mean, this time if I'm going to slap anything, it's going to be my computer, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to have to pay for it.
Lost connection. Oh, shit.
Yeah. So run that question back just one more time, just so I can make sure I can answer this thing to the best of my ability.
So you guys' gimmick was tweaked a little bit when you got pulled up to the main roster. Yeah, a lot of it. What did you guys think when they pitched it to you?
Yeah.
And when you finally put on all the gimmicks, what did you guys think when you were standing in Gorilla getting ready to make your debut?
Well, it was tough because it's one of those things where you never want to insult the fans' intelligence, and that's one of the things I always say. And they had built a bond with us for so long that when they saw this transition, they were like, what the hell's happening? Like, what is this? Now they're LOD knockoffs, which you can never imitate LOD. They're the best. You can never imitate Demolition. You can never imitate the Powers of Pain. You know what I mean? So, but it was a vision that they saw, and it was what they wanted. And listen, if we didn't do that, bottom line was someone else is going to step up and take that role. And that's just real. And that's just being honest, being a family man, having, a child and stuff like that. Like, you always want, you want to get to the main roster and you want to make money. And, at the time you're just like, but you know what, you're going to do the best you can with it. You're going to try at least. So, and it gave us the platform, to be honest with you. Like, we never would be sitting here, and I wouldn't be sitting in front of all you guys having this conversation, had it not have been for that run, honestly.
Yeah, you guys definitely ascended into the main spotlight.
We ascended all right. We descended real quick.
But I was excited for you guys to come up, and I was like, okay, a little bit of a repackage, but we'll see where this goes. They were dominant NXT. Let's see what they can do on the main roster.
I spoke to the boys about this yesterday, and we were like, damn, they really set you guys up for failure by doing all that right off the bat. Like, I was wondering too if you guys saw a way past that. Like, oh shit, can we get past this, dissension, so to speak, and like bring ourselves back to like tag team glory or something? Did you see yourselves getting past all that?
Well, we tried to do that with the Cosmic Wasteland. That was something I was going to ask a lot of fun. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It wasn't like we didn't try to pitch stuff, and then there was, the whole we were hoping to get the babyface run off of, when we were doing our stuff with Brazango, which was a lot of fun. So, and we threw pitches out and threw ideas out. And I think at the end of the day, it all boils down to one person, and that's the mind that you have to persuade. And it just wasn't in our favor,
What is that mind like? We've all heard stories, but I mean, you've had some FaceTime with them, obviously. So what is that mind like?
I mean, he's a businessman. He's business, and it's his company, and it doesn't really matter what anybody thinks or says. No matter if they're like, "Oh, I can be your top guy. I can be this. I can be that." Bottom line is, if he doesn't see that, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It just doesn't matter, and you can only fight for so long before you're beating a dead horse.
And they're just like, all right, well, they call me to TV, I'll be there, but they don't have nothing for me. I get that.
Yeah, and that's hard, because you spend all these years and all this time training and practicing and going through the grind and to get to these moments, and it's just like, no, like, we want more. But it did it. I think at the end there, it got to that point to where we were just like, whatever. Like,
it's just like like your job.
Yeah, and that sucks because
from a dream to a job.
Yeah, and that's really difficult, And I don't know if it was just being burnt out because you kind of knew what your role was going to be, no matter what you did. Mm-hmm. It was either you accept it or you just, you come to work every day and you just be miserable as hell. Which is that I didn't go that direction. I was just happy to be around my friends. I liked my boss. I liked all my colleagues. But I think as time went on, I think for me personally, I don't want to speak for Eric or Vic, but for me, it was just like, this isn't what I came here to do. This wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to contribute more. You want to do more. That was the whole point of why I even started doing this. So to be restricted was really tough. It's tough. And I would come home on days and my wife would, she's like, it's okay. You're doing great. You're providing for us, and that's what matters. And, that's nice to hear. But I think at the end of the day, too, we all have to look at ourselves in the mirror, and we want more for ourselves. We want to better ourselves. And fortunately, there was a ceiling for us that we couldn't break through, no matter even if we wanted.
No 5-star matches was going to change VKM's mind.
Wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter.
And that's just kind of
it was just like you did your best in what what you were given and everything, and it did show because it was very entertaining. Those things with Breezango and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like during that time, that was like the highlight of like the week. I'm just like, okay, just when's Fashion Files on? Like let's do this.
The Fashion Files was like legendary. Yeah,
like,
that was for 3 hours.
The Eddie Money gimmick where it's like we listened to thrash and grindcore. We wouldn't go to an Eddie Money concert. That was like the best. And then like the whole funeral thing, and Arn Anderson comes in. He's like, "Hey buds, where's catering?" And I'm just like, "Oh, this just gets better."
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun too doing that. We had a lot of say, not so much like me, but we would throw some ideas, and it was more of Breezy's and Dango's, and it was one of those things where I've known Dango forever. I mean, forever. I knew him since 2006.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so we lived together and stuff. So it was one of those things where we threw some input in, and then they would throw it to the writers, and then of course they had great ideas, but it wasn't. The writers were giving us some freedom. The writers were getting involved, and it was a lot of fun. And then when it started getting over and it started getting some momentum, that's when people wanted to start putting their hands into it. And then it started becoming more political. And then it started really like, then you start getting cuffed up. And you're like, come on, man. Like, this was doing good. This was fun. And it all started, I want to say, when we did the one where we were pouring the log or the syrup on the log, and it got great reviews, right? Like, I mean, I think it made some magazine, and it was like crazy because Breezy was like, guys, you wouldn't believe this. And then it made them go, huh? And then they put their hands on it. And then eventually it was like, this has nothing to do with fashion. So we're going to take this to the YouTube channel. And then eventually it just kind of, it was a bummer, man. It really sucked. It was just like, it was doing so good. Why fix it? Just let it go. Make money off of it.
When WWE-ified, basically, because that's what I see NXT kind of doing lately. Is it's got WWE-ified, where it's not fun like it used to be. You can
it's business now. Yeah, it's business.
And like you said, like it's business. Like your guys' look with the face paint and like the demolition LOD kind of thing looked great for toys. I'm sure like that's probably what they were thinking. Like, how can we get this gimmick?
That's exactly what they were thinking.
Yeah.
And the merch was great, like the action figures and stuff. Yeah. They looked great. I mean, they sold great, but yeah, I mean, I wasn't thinking like that. I wasn't like, I'm getting all this merch and all this, and this is great. Yeah. It was just like, wow, I'm putting face paint on. What? I don't even know how to paint my damn face.
Did you have to do that yourself, or did you have someone do it for you?
Well, so Vic got nicknamed the Paint Master through Dustin. So that's a big plus. Vic is very, very intricate with all of his details and designs. And I was like, Vic, how in the hell do you do that? Like, that's amazing. And he's like, I don't know. I just stay home sometimes and I paint my face. And I was like, dude, I was like,
that's a great visual.
That's creepy, number one. And number two, that's so awesome. But he got so good at it. His stuff looked amazing, so. And then if you ever get a chance to talk to Heath Miller, he'll tell you like his impression of how I put my face paint on, because I was just at the point where I'm like, this is stupid. I'd be like, and then I would just go out there. Like, that was what I did. And I used to contact them. I've done that before, just so you know.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go. That's epic.
I've done it. I've done that a lot of events before. Don't think I'm above that.
Yeah, no. I mean, if I was over face paint too, I'd just like, all right, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let's go. Oh man. So you brought up the Cosmic Wasteland, and my vision when I first saw it, I know Cody's really big into comic books. I don't know if you guys were, but it seemed like you guys were going for like a comic book villain type of stable. And I was really on board with it, and then it just kind of stopped.
Funny. Yeah.
What happened there?
I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, Cody, yeah, he's really big into comics, obviously. Because I think he did, Vic is really big into comics too, believe it or not. Me, I wish I had time. I'm running around chasing my son, and my wife is awesome, and so I try to do as much as I can with my family. I just never got into comics myself personally. I do appreciate them though, because I love X-Men, and I do love Batman. Joker's one of my favorite villains of all time.
Oh, absolutely. He's probably the best villain of all time for sure.
Oh, but is he a villain?
Is he?
That's the real question.
Is he a villain?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
In other eyes, some people think that Batman's a villain. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I always think of rich people as enemies for some reason.
Damn them. Yeah, I always liked the Cosmic Wasteland thing because you got kids watching, so it's like that whole comic book villain thing, and I thought it was going somewhere. I didn't really like Cody at first, the whole what he was doing at first, but then when you guys transitioned into that, it kind of took off. I thought it was going to take off, but then it just died.
Yeah, I think we all did. That was a fight. That was a fight too. That was we'd go into the office and we'd fight for positions there and ideas and things like that, and ultimately the boss would get the text message, or the boss would get to say so, and it was just kind of what it was. I really do wish it would have done something great, because visually it looked incredible. I know we were working Kalisto, Sin Cara, and Neville. That was a blast. That was like a night off, and we were just doing even on live events, we're having so much fun with that. But when you saw the package get put together, it looked so cool visually. Like it looked like a comic book. It looked like something DC or Marvel would throw together. Through
the screen, I got that. Like I felt like, this is something this is like a comic book come to life. Like, especially how big you are, you just impose fear whenever I see you. That's why I'm talking to you right now. I'm like, wow, this guy.
Try telling that to my wife and son. They put me in check.
Yeah. That's usually how it works. Yeah. So yeah, the visual of it looked great, and the concept, I got it right away. But yeah, it's a bummer that there's an audience of one, and if he's not on board, it's not gonna go far. And I wish it was different. I wish that was just the crazy way the internet thinks, and the stories aren't true. But yeah, that's kind of how it is, I guess.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It is what it is, though.
Yeah.
It's in the past. I'm just like, it's back there.
I kind of want to get away from the bummer, so let's change it up a little bit. What was it like being on the road? Like,
it's great.
Try and eat right, work out, have family. Like, what's a day like? Like, okay, you guys wrap up a show, and then you can go through it if you want.
Yeah, that was what you look forward to, I think, was the travel, the memories, the eating, just the camaraderie. If we stop at a bar, we would drink together. Nothing crazy, but it was, I traveled a lot with Rowan. That was my ride or die right there. It was me, Rowan, or me and Heath. Me, Heath, and Rhino. Like, that was, like, those were my guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so it was a blast.
Sorry. I can imagine Rowan just blasting metal the whole way to the next room.
Just to stay awake.
Yeah, just
Viking metal.
Viking metal.
He's listening to Viking metal, and I'm just like, what in the hell is wrong with you? He just drives, and legit, if you're the passenger, he just drives and he goes, What? And he's just not even looking at the road. And I'm like, dude, look at the road. What are you doing? See how many times we almost went off the road, you know?
Oh, wow.
But you got a 340-pound driver, and then I get out at 330 pounds. The whole car finally lifts up, you know? It's just like, it was a freak show between the two of us. I mean,
That's
he's
awesome.
absolutely terrifying looking, though.
Yeah.
You know, but he's such a sweetheart.
I mean, looking at him, I would have thought otherwise. He's a
Looks
big
could
guy.
be deceiving.
Well, shoot story. My uncle, he's a security guard at the House of Blues Anaheim, and during the NAMM weekend, he's like, yeah, there was just a wrestler dude. His wife was kind of giving us a little bit of trouble, but I didn't want to mess with him. I guess he was a wrestler. He's like Ronan or Rohan or something like Rowan. He's like, yeah, I didn't want to mess with them.
Nope.
Nope.
Stay clear.
The security guards wanted to talk to him. They're just like, hopefully that works itself out.
Yeah.
Stay clear.
I
Any
was wondering too.
road stories or? Oh, I'm sorry, Byron.
Oh, my bad. Like when you guys travel, I always wonder. I don't know why, because all you pro wrestlers are still in really good shape, super jacked all the time. You guys work out when you're traveling? Because your day-to-day seems really packed. Where do you find the time to work out?
Yeah. So for me, I'm an early person. I'm up at 4 a.m. That's just what I do.
Whoa.
I'm an early cat. Still to this day. I've been that way my whole life.
Damn.
So what we would usually do, and I'll just use, I'll use Rowan for instance, because Rowan was on a little bit of a different schedule. So we would travel together. We'd book our own rooms, and I would get up at like 5, 6 in the morning, whereas Rowan would get up at like 9 or 10, and then we would meet up like around 12, 1 o'clock. We get a little bit of a later checkout, then we go get some food, and then we'd go to the show. So depending on what town we stayed in, but that was how, you just got to figure out what works for you. For me, it was just early workouts. That's what worked for me. I just wanted to get it done, out of the way. And plus it made me feel good, like psychologically, because of where I was at that time. Like I thought it really helped me focus more. And it just works for me. It really does. Even to this day, I still do it.
Wow. Yeah. It's hard for me to wake up and like have the energy to like, all right, time to do some yoga. But it's 9:30. I do a little bit of DDP. I mean, I'm only like 2 months in. But I can. This big guy can flex. I can touch my toes now, which I couldn't do before. So
awesome.
Raise the roof for that.
Yeah.
Well, we raised the roof here too, by the way.
I
love it. So yeah, any fun stories from the road? Any hijinks or I don't think bar brawls would be like in the cars, because you said you guys don't drink too hard. I had a beer with Heavy Machinery.
Oh yeah.
Not too like maybe last year.
Okay.
We took a picture of like, don't get our beers in the picture. So very nice guys.
Yeah. You have to always do that. It's like one of those, like when they would take photos with us, me and Rowan would just go shoulder to shoulder, and you couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
Or behind us,
yeah.
So it always worked out. But no, there was nothing too crazy. Like I think nowadays with everything that goes on, like you got to be so careful, especially when you're out in public.
Oh yeah.
Because they train you for that too, and that's another thing. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but like when you're on elevators and when you take photos, things like that, like you have to be real careful, because there are people. It's not a lot, but there are people out there that do try to ruin careers and make situations up, and you have to be very careful. Yeah. So we were always pretty good. We got in. We'd let loose. We'd have some fun. We'd, mess around with people. But when it started getting to a certain point, when you're talking with them, and then it's like, oh, I think I can arm wrestle you, or I can kick your ass. It's like, tab, please.
Man. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want, it's not worth it.
No.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it.
Totally.
Then he could be like, oh, my arm hurts. Oh, I had an arm wrestling match with this guy last night that can probably rip my head off. He hurt me. I want money.
Yeah.
So I could see how that, I wouldn't say that to your face. But yeah. Probably get a lawyer or something. But I can see how someone could come up with a story like that for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of things like, it's just not worth it. So yeah, when you're you guys know, like when your guys are out, if the situation starts to escalate a little bit, you get that feeling. It's like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah.
You got to. It's not worth it.
There's some people that want to run into it, but yeah, I'm like you. I'm like, I see the problems. I'm like, yeah.
Turn the other way, walk away. Just
You guys
get
are
out of there.
targets. You guys are pro wrestlers. People want to test that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like, why? Why? That's my question. Why do you want to do that? Like, what do you have to prove? You know?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why do they have to do that? I'm a family man. I just want to pay my bills. I want to keep my fridge stocked like anybody else.
Absolutely.
It's like that inferiority complex thing,
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Like, what are you looking at? And you're like, I'm not looking at anyone.
I'm just looking at my
I think it's a thing to say, like, I went toe to toe with, you know, one of the wrestlers.
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights, you know, something that they can go home with and tell other
Let
buddies.
them have it. They
you know,
have
but
yeah, take it. Don't be
But
Shawn
why?
Michaels.
Just
Don't be
take the
Shawn
W.
Michaels.
If anything, I would want to, like, be your friend. Like, that's why would anybody want to do that? You know, I would want to be your friend.
Especially when I'm paying the tab.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Tabs on me, brother.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I couldn't imagine a world where I would walk up to someone and be like, you don't seem so tough, and like want to start something. Like Bobby said, I would want to be your friend because, you know.
Yeah, I would want to go home. I would want to go home and say, I had a beer with Konnor, or I had a beer with, you know, Rowan, rather
Someone
than
I look
say,
up
I got
to,
in a fight
you know.
with them.
Yeah. That's dumb.
Yeah.
Albeit though, I'm 5'6", 135 pounds, so I ain't even trying to mess with that.
Well, if anything, if you were in the bar with us, you would just come pony up right in between us.
Right.
There you go.
Looking at two towers, dude.
And like a wrestling sandwich.
And then Rowan would keep it real weird because he wouldn't talk to you, but he'd just look at you.
Oh,
I love it. I love it. Keeping kayfabe. Let's see. I did a little bit of a deep dive, and I found out that you are an ordained minister. Is this true?
It is true. Yeah. This is kind of silly how this all happened, and I've never really told anybody this. I know Dusty. He was giving me some hell for it back in the day. He is like, "Oh, the preacher baby," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." It was the weirdest thing. So one day, this is no bullshit. This is what happened. So I fell asleep. I took a nap in my house. I woke up and my wife goes, "I'm an ordained minister," and I go, "Wait a second. If you're ordained, I can be ordained too." You know, it's always like a competition between her and I, which is I love it. It's
that's
my
awesome.
favorite thing. Yeah, and so anyone can do it. I literally went on, got it right then and there. And then I think we had Mania. It was not this most recent one, but the prior one that was up in New York, New Jersey. I didn't want to get in any trouble, so I stayed in my hotel room the whole time. So I ended up getting some certifications done to where like I can make legal documentation, like, you know, with marriages and things like that, actually be legal. Like a notary. I became a notary. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, so I became a notary. So funny thing is, you know, when I had this whole thing, I just I had the privilege of marrying two people the whole time that I had it, which, you know, was really cool to me. And that was Jason Jordan and his wife. And I got to marry Sasha Banks and her husband.
Oh,
nice.
So
wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible. And I remember Sasha's was my first one that I got to do. I remember McFoley being there, and I mean, it was intense, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I was scared and I was nervous, and I got through it. And I remember when we got done, it was so much fun. And when we got done, we got in the car and I started crying. Not bad, but I teared up, and you know, Kristen was like, "Well, are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah, I just feel like I did something really good in my life." Like, you know what I mean? And so nothing could replace that. It was like one of the best feelings I ever had. And then so with Jason and his wife, April, I got the same feeling. It was just a privilege to do something like that.
That's
but
awesome.
Yeah, so I became, it's legit. I became ordained and I became a notary, and that's what I did with it.
Okay, well, when I get married, I'm gonna hit you up, dude.
There we go.
I think you might be onto something right there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Do I get to do it in gimmick?
Oh, please.
Oh,
It's mandatory.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was implying. Yeah, we got to do full. We keep it kayfabe for sure.
I love it.
You can do it like kind of COVID friendly, where
Yeah.
you do Zoom weddings.
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure.
I think actually Billy Idol is doing that right now.
Billy Idol?
Yeah.
Really?
There was a contest
Thinking
and
outside the
everything.
box. I
There you
love
go.
it.
I mean, it is a nice day for a white wedding, I guess. If you're Billy Idol. Let's do some fan questions. First one we got was from this person named Alicia. It's a question for me. They asked if I have a hairpiece, and it's not a hairpiece. It's real hair.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to announce that while we're doing this, but
I'm bummed out, man.
yeah, I know it's its own thing.
Well, you know, if it was fake, it would be a good one. So
I mean, yeah, it would be.
it looks very natural.
Yeah. Thank you.
And if it was fake, you should always just sell it. Fuck it. Who cares?
Best $200.
Exactly.
I'm just jealous because you have hair.
Hey, you got a little mohawk going. That looks cool.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, and then we'll get into a real question now. All right, so this one comes from Manuel Reyes. He's asking, during your NXT run, was there a tag team that you and Victor wish you faced but didn't?
No. Well, they weren't really ready by that time, and it was the Revival at the time. They were still, piecing everything together. But awesome. I mean, I feel like because of the live events and stuff like that was down in NXT, like we worked with everyone, Enzo and Cass, the Vaudevillains. Like, I mean, we didn't have a day off when we were trying to help, transition the tag team department in the NXT, because I think we were the first tag team. And then we had to start throwing people together. And at one point, Dawkins was actually, which this is just, information for you guys to know, is that Dawkins was actually tagging with Big Cass before Enzo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
That would have been interesting.
They were trying to fill that little thing out right there. Of course, obviously, it worked out for both parties in they went their own different directions. But yeah, there was a lot of like throwing stuff together, seeing what stuck, what didn't stick. So I'll tell you who we did enjoy really working. And I talked to Vic about this, and we've done a few together, and it was a lot of fun working Hideo and Finn.
Ooh.
Oh, that must, yeah, I can imagine that. I love smaller guys and bigger guys fighting each other. I think that's just
of
a
course,
really good
David
dynamic.
and Goliath. It's like the greatest story,
Yeah.
And so I think that we loved each other so much, and we had Drake as our referee. Like, we always had Drake. And
Nice.
so even when we did live events, it was a rid, because we get in the ring and I look around and I'd be like, Jesus, who's the youngest here? There's just like, it's like a bunch of men in there,
Yeah.
So, but it was so much fun. And I think we did like a 6 or 7 month run, and that's, with live events, and it really brought out the best in all of us, like, of course, Finn and Hideo having their Japan experience and things like that helped us. Of course, we knew the WWE style, so we were able to help them transition still to keep their stuff. So it was just real compliment. Like, we just all meshed really well. We got along, so it was a lot of fun, man. It was a blast. That's probably the one feud I do miss.
That's awesome. Did you was there anyone that you didn't like working with? Not to put anyone on blast.
Yeah, no. No, I mean, it doesn't matter at this point.
Like, if you see someone on the, you see the rundown, you're like,
does it really matter at this point? Come on.
Good point.
It's not that I didn't like working him, but I was always afraid that I was going to hurt him, and that was Enzo.
Oh.
And Enzo's a great guy. I know like all the stuff that's out there. There's like, you know, some speculation stuff, but I'm telling you, Enzo's a good dude if you really get to know him. And I'm going to speak just for myself, but I really enjoyed him. My biggest thing is I would tell Vic all the time, I'd be like, hey, do me a favor, please stay in there for Enzo, because I don't want to hurt Enzo. Because I've done stuff before to where I've hurt him and I barely even did anything. And I'm just like, oh no, like I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
And I like him too. So it was one of those things where I just didn't want to hurt him. Like I didn't want the reputation, and I just didn't want to hurt him.
Like
That's
like hurt him, like as far as like physically, like during.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like maybe I think you give him a power move and he wouldn't know to take it right. Okay.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You know, and it's just, and you've seen some of Enzo stuff. Like he's sometimes he can be his own worst enemy. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't mean that in a bad way. Like he tries to do everything above and beyond.
Oh yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean? Like he gives
himself
There's always effort with him.
But sometimes it backfires on him, and then he hurts himself. And then if you're there, it's just like you could be guilty just by being there.
Yeah.
So I was always afraid of that, but I love him to death. But I just was afraid I would always hurt him. So that was the one. I never disliked working anyone, but I was very cautious with certain people.
Kind of like stressful.
It can be actually, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah.
I could see that because when I watch Enzo work, he's a smaller guy, not like super smaller. And he's not quite as athletic as the other small guys too. And I noticed just by the way he moves. And it always that's why when he knocked himself out, I was like, dude, this guy's going all out without like.
Yep.
And that's just him trying to put on a good show.
Yeah. All love and respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. You have to respect it, you know, and it's just, and here's the funny thing. If you ever get a chance to talk to him, he'll tell you, like, he'll tell you, he's like, I'm not the biggest guy. I'm not the best wrestler, but I can talk. And that is one thing that guy is a master at.
Yeah.
And Dream loved him for that because he could speak and he was so good at it.
What was Dusty like? Like any good Dusty stories you got?
Oh, he's amazing.
I love
just
the nicest guy. Yeah.
Yeah. If you stay on his good side, but I'd imagine that's the thing about it. So I'll tell you a quick little story I thought was pretty cool because, you know, I saw Dusty made this list. This is when FCW was running. And at this list, at the end of the day of practice, what you would do is you would put your name on there. And then Dusty, would take the time to sit there and talk with you over whatever it is you want to talk about. Gimmicks, promos, whatever it is, however he can help. Just one day I remember him being really upset. And he just seemed like he just wasn't at the happiest of happy. So I tried to pop him by putting a name on there, and it just ended up backfiring a little bit on me. And I, you know, it was one of those stupid names, Mike Hunt. And Dream, the next day we came in, Dream, he was so hot. He was so hot. And he goes, whoever Mike Hunt is, let me tell you something, baby. You got something else coming to you. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh no. I wanted him to laugh and he's mad.
Oh, shit.
This is not what I want. And then, of course, like he knew who it was. That's the thing. And as we're singing promo practice, nobody knew what he was talking about but this asshole. And I'm sitting there, and I'm in the corner going, oh no. And my heart's beating. I'm hot. I'm just like, you idiot. You really screwed up this time. All you wanted to do was wanted him to put a smile to his face, and now you pissed him off. And Dream kept poking at that every now and then. And Dream was like, I know who it was who did it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, and he goes, one of them damn vampires. That's who it was. No, I go, he's on to me. I go, oh no. I go, shit. So I got up and I say, Dream, can I talk to you? And he looked at me and goes, wow, baby. And I like he's smiling and everything. Like he knew. And I go, I was the asshole that did it. I'm so sorry. And he goes, what do you mean you did it? And I go, Mike Hunt, that was me. And he goes, I know.
That's awesome.
He had me so scared. I was so nervous. And he was playing me the whole time.
Oh,
but he was incredible.
Just, yeah. I can imagine, like, you just shitting bricks all day. But he's totally working me the whole time.
Cement blocks.
Building houses.
That's hilarious.
All right. I know you have a schedule, so we're going to try to breeze through these.
Yeah.
Who's this one comes from Manuel Reyes. Do you have a favorite band?
I like Pantera.
Oh,
and I grew up in that era,
nice.
And it was just I've always liked Pantera.
Pantera will kick your ass, dude. Like that's
God.
Like
those guys were great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Pantera, man. It just that was my go-to, whether I was in football practice or if I was going to the gym, no matter what it was. Even to this day, I still listen to them. I just love them.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Timeless.
This one comes from Juan of the Dead Ortiz, the legend.
Shout out to
legend.
Who is that guy? Who is that
Art on your shirt.
I think he made that shirt, right? That Hitman shirt. Yeah.
Literally every single Grudge Match shirt.
Yeah.
And he did some art for Konnor too.
That's sick. That's
He's
so
amazing.
dope.
Yeah.
He's, every shirt he puts out every idea he has is awesome.
He put our new logo out. He drew our new logo up too.
Oh, really? I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
I don't know how he gets any sleep, seriously.
For real.
He's gonna do that too, right?
Yeah. So it's
it's
like Konnor and Juan are always up. Like me and Tony will be going to sleep. Konnor will be like, responding to a text message. I'm like, one eye. I'm like, don't you sleep? He's like, I'm an early bird. And then the same thing with Juan. He's like drawing, sleeping. His babe sleeping in his arm while he's drawing like some zombie shit.
He's awesome.
He wants to know if you've had any paranormal experiences on the road, like a haunted hotel, I'm assuming.
Never. God, see, sometimes I don't know how much to believe in that kind of stuff,
But my house is haunted.
Okay, so I don't feel too stupid talking about some of this stuff. So never on the road. Never on the road. My wife and I have had some weird experiences before in the past. They were kind of like, oh, that's weird. Like we woke up, I've heard people talking at the foot of our bed, and my wife heard it too, and she was just like, "Do you hear that?" And I go, "I thought that was you." And we were sitting there, and we could hear people running across our bed area. No, I'm not even making this up. Like I'm getting goosebumps right now. Like there are some things. Her phone called me one night. And her phone was sitting right next to me.
What?
Now that is creepy. I swear to God.
Creepy.
And I was like, and I'm not big into that kind of stuff, but it was one of those things where I was like, well, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
So we've definitely had some experiences that I can't explain. But I don't get worried. I don't get too worried about that too, because like it's one of those things where I always think that it's like spirits trying to get your attention if that is the case. For whatever it might be. So I don't know. It sounds weird to talk about this, but I'm a big fan of Dr. Raymond Moody. I always read his stuff. It's about the afterlife and all that stuff. Like I love that kind of.
I want to check that out. I feel like we could have a podcast on just paranormal activity.
Oh, I love it. I do love
it.
Because it's even more of a sell for me because me and my girlfriend have both experienced, because we live together. We both experienced the same things in the house. We just moved in here maybe like 2 years ago when we first moved in here. There was like rosaries. There was like a bunch of like crosses and stuff. And like, we got to get all this crap out of here. This isn't ours. But we should have left it up because once we took it down, weird shit started happening in the house. So,
I mean, it doesn't help that you live across from a cemetery.
Oh yeah. The cemetery is my backyard. So
that's probably it.
Oh dear God! You got a cemetery in your backyard?
Yeah, it's like one of the biggest cemeteries in LA too. So like I'm surrounded by a cemetery. Yeah. We got a good deal in it though, so
I'm sure they'll understand.
Yeah.
Got a couple extra minutes. It's no big deal.
It's cool.
Yeah. He's gotta start paying rent sooner or later though. I'm just kidding. He might be listening. Watch. Tonight I'm gonna get visited. Watch. All right, this one comes from Jack Sullivan. Captain Jack wants to know, would you rather fight 2 giant road warriors or 12 little people-sized demolition members?
Well, so I'm intrigued by little people.
Have you seen Midget Wrestling?
I'm just intrigued by them in general. Like if I see them in airports, or if I see them, like I like to watch them sit up on stools, and like I mean, I'll take the 12 little demolitions.
That seems like fun.
They'll kick my ass, but I'm gonna love every second of it. Literally, like enthralled by the whole thing.
Just in their like, they have full gimmick. Like, what is the S&M gear? Like
the S&M gear, the face paint.
That would be awesome. I would love to see that. Actually. I'm gonna book that.
How do you not just stare at that?
Book it.
Axe, smash, crush. Axe 2, smash 2, crush 2.
Lil Axe.
Are they walking? My next question would be: are they walking towards me to their song? That's all I want to know.
Oh, to Rick Derringer? Please.
Yes. But it's like an Alvin and the Chipmunks remix of it.
I'm just gonna sit right there and watch him come kick my ass.
Oh man.
All right.
That's a good one.
Let's see. This one comes from Richard Jaquez. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Jaquez. He wants to know, did you feel like you were being buried in that legend segment? That was
No. Wow.
No, because I'll tell you why. Because everybody likes to say that's that was our first shot out, and we got buried this and that. But the bottom line was the fact that we came out and disrespected them. They kicked our ass, and then we wanted the pay-per-view. That right there just tells you that they weren't coming out there to bury us. They were actually trying to build heat on us is what they were doing, which is what they did.
Yeah.
Because people hated us for it. When we were in Philadelphia and we did that pay-per-view, I'm not going to lie to you, I've never seen so many people flick me off.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it was amazing.
It did its job.
And I love Philly. And I was just like, oh my, Vic, they fucking hate us, man. They hate it. I'm looking at a lady's going like this, like, fuck you. And I'm like,
shit.
I'm like, oh, me, oh.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get that. I think the word buried gets thrown around like way too much. I didn't get that from that segment either.
No. And you know what? From a professional standpoint, I go back and I look at that and I say I was really grateful of that because number one, I was in the ring with those legends.
Absolutely.
And nobody else was. Number two, the company trusted us enough to be in the ring with them.
Yeah.
And number three, they let us finish that story out. So I didn't feel that way at all.
Awesome. Did Vic was that an extra little something on that clothesline he took? Because I was watching that the other day. I was like, fuck, that's pretty stiff, man.
The clothesline from hell.
Bradshaw's clothesline?
Yeah, Bradshaw.
Yeah, from Bradshaw.
I didn't take it, so I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that's another quick question. Is there a move that you're gonna take? You're like, fuck, this is gonna hurt so much.
No, not really.
Yeah. I think Victor was more in fear of that.
Yeah, I was a lot of meat, you know what I mean? So for me, I was like, I'll be fine. I got a lot of fat on my back. I'll be all right.
All right, and then one last question. What's next for Big Con? Are you still in contact with anyone at WWE?
Oh yeah.
Any other?
So really quick, I'm about to become an extra trainer with Jay Lethal's Academy.
Nice.
So we're getting ready. We're getting ready to start mixing it up on hopefully Monday or Tuesday. Now that we can open the school, I don't know for how long, but
yeah.
So that's the direction that I'm looking at right now. And then as far as contacts with certain companies go, there has been some that reached out. I think for me personally, I just kind of want to take it easy and take it slow. I've done 13 years with WWE, and I'm not in no rush to run back into another possible company that I don't even know if I'm going to have any creative control, Yeah. So because of my situation and my story, and probably Vic's story too, because of those circumstances, you start to be a little more cautious. You start to ask a lot more questions. So I'm not in a rush, and a lot of my friends are jumping to TNA. A lot of my friends are at NWA. A lot of my friends are at AEW, and so it's just one of those things where I'll just wait for the opportunity to present itself. I've got 3 on the table right now. I'm in no rush whatsoever. I know Vic's not either. It's just one of those things where when the time is right, we'll take it. But right now, I want to focus on the students and the school and helping Jay out and David Mercury. That's the biggest thing because I want to be able to give back. That's the biggest thing for me right now is to be able to go back and help kids' dreams come true like I got mine.
That's so awesome. That's nice. Really cool to hear. you're taking control of your life, and you're going to call your own shots, and I respect that so much. I think that's so awesome.
Thank you.
But yeah, well, you guys got anything to add?
Well,
I don't want to keep Konnor for too long.
Well, selfishly, we'd love to see you probably in New Japan because you guys would wreck shop over there.
Yes.
That's far.
The Ascension in New Japan would fuck shit up, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
New Japan. What about like TNA or Ring of Honor or?
I mean, AEW's tag team division is pretty stacked. I think you guys could mix it up pretty well down there, and have a lot of creative control, also, from what I hear.
But I'd love to. I'm an AEW hater. You're a resident.
The resident AEW hater, yes.
Hey, I'd rather see you go to TNA.
Yeah.
For me personally, and I think I speak for Tony also, I think you would have a lot of creative control in TNA. Plus, you could do indie shows, so you could make bank all around.
See, I like that. You're a businessman. I need you in my corner.
There we go.
I need you.
You got my number, baby.
Well, that's awesome. Konnor, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It was a privilege.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have the show out in a few days. Anything else? Any social media plugs you got, or anything coming up that you want to share?
Not really, to be honest with you. Not right this second.
That's cool. But I'm glad that there's big things coming for you. So
thank you.
We'll definitely keep our eyes out for you.
Awesome.
And yeah, thanks for being a guest on our show, our first guest.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Have a good day, and say hello to the family
you
from us.
too. Stay safe, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you too.
Stay healthy.
Yeah.
Christy and Elijah, we said hi.
I will. Thank you.
All right, brother. Take care.